All right, let's get started. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I know you're eating your lunch. That's the most important thing right now. Well, my name is Yanick Hicks, and I am truly excited to be with you this afternoon and to spend the next 4 hours together with you. I'm just kidding, right? I mean, hasn't this conference been amazing? I want you guys to give Stephanie and Terry and Don a round of applause for putting on this conference, right? All right, so in a short period of time, I have two guarantees for you. The first guarantee is that I'm going to give you something that you can apply to your life and your organization today. I have the privilege of teaching you one of the greatest skill sets that have helped me to grow and develop as a leader. So at the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you something that you can apply to your charter school that can make a significant difference in your community. The second guarantee that I have for you is not only am I going to give you something that you can apply to your charter school today, should you find the information that I share with you to be beneficial. So since it's short, I'm going to be offering you all a free 45-minute leadership training for your charter school leadership team. So if you can write on the back of your business card or whatever paper that you have, leadership, hand me your card at the end of the session. I'll be more than happy to provide this free 45-minute leadership training to your company and team. Again, my name is Yanick Hicks. So that's my contact information, my website, phone number, email, and stuff like that. Don't call me at 2 a.m. All right. I'll be deep asleep. All right. I grew up in Cameroon, West Africa with my grandfather. My grandfather was very instrumental in laying the foundation for my leadership and my life. That's a picture of me when I was a little boy. I used to be handsome there. I don't know what happened. Right? Life happened. But when I was growing up as a little boy, my grandfather began to instill in me principles and values. So values makes a difference in how your organization works out. I remember they mentioned one team in the morning session, they call faith, fitness, something intellectual, or something like that, their value statement. But my grandfather was very stern. So at the age of 6 years old, my grandfather began to wake me up at 4 o'clock in the morning to read. He began to teach me that discipline of reading. I know reading is one of the things as far as students. I didn't have a dull moment. I remember the very first time he woke me up at 4 o'clock in the morning for me to read. He called me up. I'm saying, why is this old man waking me up at 4 o'clock in the morning? And then I walk up over to his room, and I'm trying to figure out what is happening, and he handed me a book for me to read, right? You see, back home, you just do what you've been told. In America, you go to jail for beating your kids, right? Where I'm from, there is no jail. There is no this thing for getting involved with a kid. And so guess what time I woke up this morning? You get that? They said, oh, how come you're always reading? I got maybe 5 books I'm reading at one time. It's a discipline. Another principle that my grandfather taught me, excellence. So I had to be great at school. It was a no-brainer. I mean, you're educators. I did extremely well in school. I was the third in my class. For where I'm from, that's pretty amazing. We only had 3 students. Right? So my grandfather also instilled the principle of faith. So after waking up at 4 o'clock, read. At 5 o'clock, especially being Catholic, just be me and my grandfather, I'll have to follow him to church, especially during the period of Lent. That's why faith is the foundation of everything that I did. So I'm very grateful that I grew up in a leader's home, that he instilled those principles and values. When I was, about 12 years of age, I got enrolled into, boarding school. It was an all-Catholic minor seminary in the Catholic faith. Seems like my grandfather wanted me to become a priest before a friend of mine introduced me to a woman. So I decided priesthood is not for me, right? At the age of 16, I had the good fortune of coming to the United States, and I was excited to come live the American dream. So when I came to the U.S., I was over in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Now I was staying with my biological parents. My mom wanted me to pursue the career of pharmacy. So I began to take classes sophomore year, high school. But things were very difficult in the beginning, right? Being from a foreign country, I received my own share of the culture shock. You know, kids would make fun of me because of my accent. I had low self-esteem, low self-confidence. I was lonely. High school was a very difficult place for me. On top of that, my grandfather, my hero, passed away. That was very tough. You see, I don't know about you, but my grandfather is the greatest leader that ever lived, as far as my world is concerned. You see, he's the reason why I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go after it. He's the reason why I'm motivated and decided to pursue my calling. We're going to be talking about becoming a person. Are you that type of leader in someone else's life? When you've been passed on, is your legacy going to live through someone? Sometimes I get emotional and I would just cry and I said, you know, I love my grandfather. I missed him. I want to make him proud. That's what it's all about, right? Passing it on to the next generation. And so guess what? Now I drifted. Now I started, you know, what happened now? I began to hang out with the wrong crowds. I deviated from the principles, started going to the club, started drinking, started smoking. But I felt like I fit in with the rest of the crew. Went to University of Georgia, #1 party school. I was right there, right? Just had a lot of fun. And then the summer after undergrad, things began to go downhill for me. I applied to 14 pharmacy schools. I got 13 rejection letters. I took the pharmacy entrance exam, the PCAT, I did extremely bad. That same summer, I also got pulled over and charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. I took a hit. That's when I knew my habits and behavior was leading me down the drain. I was stuck. How many of you ever failed at least one before, right? How many of you had at least one failure, right? How many of you know Murphy's Law? If you haven't heard of Murphy's Law, it's waiting for you after this event, right? No, just kidding, right? I was stuck. I wanted to change, but I didn't know how. Well, little did I know good fortune is coming my way. I got a telephone call from my friend named Francis. We're having a conversation. Francis said, hey, have you heard of Joel Osteen? I said, no. He said, here's what I'm going to recommend. Download this app and listen to one of his recordings. Well, at that time, I didn't know what it was or anything, but I wanted to turn my life around. And so when I got back, I decided to download the app. I listened to that recording by Joel Osteen for 30 minutes, and it literally changed my life. That was a turning point in my life. That's when I started this journey of personal and spiritual and leadership growth and development. And I began to study thought leaders like John Maxwell. I've never heard of John Maxwell by a quick show of hands. Oh, wow. Some of you have, some of you haven't. Great. So John Maxwell is the #1 leadership expert in the world. And his publisher recently told him he has written more leadership content than anyone else on the history of this planet. So this is someone you can definitely learn from. Now I began to listen to John and some of the other thought leaders, and I began to apply what it is I was learning. You see, the most important thing is apply, because you see, most of the things I am going to share with you today are things that you already heard of before. But instead of saying to yourself, I've heard this before, which is one of the most dangerous words in any language, why don't you instead say to yourself, how well do I do that? How well do I apply that? Because the greatest gap in our life is the space between what we know and what we actually do. So I'm a doer. I'll listen to this recording. I will want to apply at least one principle in the next 24 hours. Slowly but surely, I began to make changes. I changed my circle of friends. Next thing you know, because I wasn't hanging around those friends, I stopped going to the club. I haven't had a sip of alcohol for almost 10 years now. I made a 180-degree turn to the lifestyle I was leading. Why? Because of personal and leadership growth and development. I got the DUS situation dropped. Things began to change for me. The only pharmacy school that was left called me for an interview. I was shocked because I already knew I wasn't going to get into the pharmacy program. And on top of that, they had me on the waiting list. But I'll listen to my motivational recording in the morning. And that's what I'll recommend you do. Every day, you got to be listening to something. And I'll get excited. I'll call the admissions lady. Hello, Terry. How are you? Just wanted to find out if I've been accepted into the program. Say, Yanick, you haven't been accepted to the program. I'm going to let you know. After about a week, hello, Terry. This is Yanick Hicks. Just wanted to find out if I've been accepted into a program. Yanick, didn't I tell you not to call me anymore? I'm going to let you know. After about a week or two, hello, Terry. And then next thing you know, of course, I got a call, got accepted at Marshall University School of Pharmacy, Huntington, West Virginia. How many of you have been to West Virginia by quick show? Oh, wow. You don't want to go to West Virginia, and nothing happening, right? All they do in West Virginia is smoke weed. No, I'm just kidding. Is anyone here from West Virginia? But that's a picture of me and my mom. My mom is a nurse. She does travel nursing, but she was joyful that I became a pharmacist. But it all started when I decided to invest in myself with growth and development. What I learned from that experience is the power of change. For things to change for your charter school, you're going to have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. So don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So in the short period of time that we have, I'll give you a basic understanding, talk about the 5 levels, and I'm going to wrap it up. So if you're ready, turn to the person beside you and say, are you ready? Turn back to that person and say, it's about time. So in a short period of time, I'm going to share with you first, there's a law called the law of the lead. The law of the lead says, your leadership ability determines your overall effectiveness. You see, how well you lead will determine how well you succeed as far as your charter school. So I'll do a quick visual illustration. Let's say my left hand right here, this is my leadership lead, my leadership ability. This is how well I, Yanick, can lead. My right hand, this is the size of my charter school, my business, my company. What this law basically says is the lead of my leadership will never allow the size of my charter school or business or company to go any higher. My leadership lead or leadership ability controls and contains the size of my business, my company. So let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, my ability to lead people is a 5. That's average, right? So if I'm a 5, as far as leadership, what would be the size of my charter school or my business or company? Right? Yep, or less, right? It will be a 4. What's not going to happen is if I'm a 5, and this is the size of my company, the size of my company is not going to be a 5, a 6, a 7, 8. Never in the history can the size of your charter school, your company or business rise above your ability to lead the people, the staff. So if I'm a 5, right, if I'm a 5, and the size of my school is a 4, and I continue to get better as a leader, coming to these conferences, reading leadership books, and I raise my leadership lead to a 6, to a 7, to an 8. Now my charter school, my business, my company has the capacity to grow to meet my leadership ability. So everything rises and falls on leadership. You see, you can double the size of your charter school, you can double the size of your department, you can double the size of your company by raising your leadership lead. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Once I understood that, that's why every day I read for 1 hour every day. You have to constantly be growing and changing, because if your charter school is going to get better, you're going to have to get better. It's not just going to happen like my friend Tom, right? Tom Miller, he says, hope is not a strategy, right? It's not a strategy. Okay, so everything rises and falls on leadership. All right, so let me talk about the 5 levels of leadership. You guys ready? You didn't choke on your lunch? Right? So let's talk about the 5 levels of leadership, or the 5 levels of influence. We'll start with the first level. The first level is the position level. The key word is rights, R-I-G-H-T-S. You see, at this level, your people follow you because they have to, not because they want to. They follow you because they have to, not because they want to. Like you let them clock out, and once they're outside of the door, your influence may go from an 8 to a 2 in a heartbeat. Why? because you have their paycheck to hang over their heads. You see, positional leaders, they want everybody to know, well, I'm the boss, I'm the boss, I'm the boss. Well, they don't know what the acronym for boss stands for. Big old stupid sucker, right? People don't want a boss. People want a leader or a coach. Because the position doesn't make you a leader. The leader makes the position. Leadership is about people. Leadership is about people, not about position. So strip away from your mind that leadership is about a title or a position. So that's the first level. That's where you start. That's where I start, but that's not where we want to be. Let's go to the next level. The second level is the permission level. The permission level, the key word is relationships. Now, at this level, the people in your school follow you because they want to, not because they have to. They follow you because they want to, not because they have to. In other words, you have connected with them. You like them and they like you, and so they're not just following you because you're a principal or administrator or superintendent. They'll follow you because you're a principal that people like. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. People won't go along with you if they cannot get along with you. How many of you know someone that is difficult to get along with by a quick show of hands? How many of you are sitting beside that person right now? Right? You see, relationships with people are the foundation of leadership. Why? Because leadership is influence, and you cannot influence people that you antagonize. So what are some things that you can do to become a better relational leader? Like I said, the things are simple, but how well do you apply it? The first thing you have to do is you have to listen well. Great leaders became great leaders because they were great listeners. Because, they lead by asking questions and then they listen. Because in order for you to take your people where they need to go, to achieve that vision, you have to first find out where they are by asking questions and listening. Find out more about them. What are their dreams? What are their aspirations? What do they like to do for fun? What are their values? What are their interests? Because here is how it works. You have to listen, learn before you lead. You have to listen and then learn about them before you lead them. You got to listen and then learn before you lead. The second thing, you have to begin to observe your people well. Because if you listen to people, they might tell you what you want to hear. But when you observe them, you find out if their words matches their behavior. Like I tell people, don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you're going to do. Stop yapping and make things happen, right? How many of you know people that they talk too much? How many of you saw that person in the mirror this morning? No, just kidding. Just kidding, right? We're having fun. And then the third thing that you have to begin to do is you have to serve your people well. This way you begin to practice servant leadership. So you're not looking for how the school is going to benefit you, but you're looking to how can you serve the school? How can you serve your teachers? How can you serve the students better? You come with that mindset of servant leadership. Look at Chick-fil-A, right? They have that servant leadership culture. When they give you and you say thank you, they don't say you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Isn't that sexy? No, just kidding. It's my pleasure. You have to listen, observe your people well, and then begin to serve your people well. So the permission level keyword is relationships. People follow you because they want to, not because they have to. So let's go to the third level. The third level is the production level, and the key word is results. Now, people follow you because of what you've done for the organization. The charter school, you've produced results, right? You've decreased absenteeism. You increase the profit of the school. The test scores are high. The morale of the school is going great. You're increasing the amount of enrollment in your charter school. People are feeling good about coming to work, right? This is when you begin to gain credibility as a leader because you're producing results at the charter school. You're making things happen. So what are some things that you could do to become a better producer? You got to lead by example. The greatest motivational principle, people do what people see. Leadership is more caught than taught. But before you lead by example, you have to practice self-leadership. The first question you have to ask yourself as a leader is, would I follow me? Would I follow me? If there's not a resounding yes to that question, we've got some serious work to do. That's why one of my favorite poems is called The Mirror and Me. When I look in the mirror, what do I see? Reflections of a double-sided me. One side is everything I ever hoped to be, yet my greatest problem is staring back at me. There are times when I want to rush out to get ahead, and I find myself leading when I need to be led. Courage is needed. How can I overcome me? How can I lead others with authenticity? I'll remember the best and the worst in me. Doing this will keep me growing humbly. I'll seek others out more faithful than me and ask for help with my vulnerabilities. To lead and do right, that is my possibility. To do this, I will visit my mirror regularly. My mom criticized me this morning, right? I got to go look in the mirror. It's like, yeah. So you got to practice the third level, the production level. The key word is results. Results is the name of the game, right? The bottom line, the finance, increase test scores. Are you getting those things happen? You guys learning something? Turn to the person next to you and say, are you learning something? Turn back to them and say, not enough yet. We still got 2 more levels to go. I'll just kind of go through this real quick. The 4th level is the people development level. The 4th level is the people development level. The key word is reproduction. I have some examples, but for the sake of time, the people development, the key word is reproduction. Now, people follow you because of what you've done for them. You begin to reproduce yourself as a leader. So what are some things that you could do to reproduce yourself? You have to recruit people well. To train and develop good people, you have to recruit good people. See, 80% of success is in the front door, who you recruit in your company, right? Because in every charter school, every company and organization is like the revolving door principle. People are coming in and people are going out. People come in and people are going out. It happens in every company or organization. So the question is not, are people coming in, are people going out? The question is, who is coming in and who is going out? Remember I talked about the law of the lead, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you have 8s and 9s are coming in into your charter school as far as leadership ability, and you have 3s and 4s are leaving your charter school, oh, happy day, right? We can now sing Kumbaya. Free at last, thank God we're free at last. The bad apples have left, right? You know someone who is negative. They just have a bad attitude, right? The bad apples. I'm sure you've woken up one morning and said, God, please help me not to see this person today. And then your spouse walks in. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding, right? But if you have 3s and 4s coming in into your charter schools and 8s and 9s are leaving. So the question is, who is coming in and who is going out? And then, of course, you have to begin to position your people well, and then you begin to develop good people. And then the 5th level is the pinnacle level. So in the next couple of minutes, what are some things, and then I'll wrap it up, you can do to raise your leadership ability? There are a couple of different ways. I'm going to give it and then wrap it up. The first thing that you can begin to do, value experience and take time to reflect. You say, Yanick, what does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. When I say take time to reflect, I'm talking about taking time each day to pause and think about how to get better at what it is that you do. Now, this could be anything. Let me give you what I call the reflection starter kit. I promise you, if you begin to apply this in the next 7 days, you're going to be more productive and effective at what it is that you do. How many would like to be more productive and effective? Everybody, right? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions and actually write out the answers. I guarantee you, you're going to be more productive and effective. Here are the 3. What went right? What went wrong? What can I do differently? What went right? What went wrong? I promise you, if you begin to ask yourself these 3 questions at the end of each day and actually write out the answers, I guarantee you, you're going to be more productive and effective at what it is that you do. Guess what I'm going to do after I leave here? going to ask myself those 3 questions. What went right? Not a whole lot. What went wrong? Everything. What can I do differently? I'm not coming back. All right, no, just kidding. I'm just kidding. This is serious because we're not going to keep dealing with the same issues by not taking time to reflect. You see, you keep dealing with the same issues in your charter school or your office because you refuse to take time to pause and think daily on what it is that you're doing. So you have to take time to reflect. What went right? What went wrong? What can I do differently? So you can grow by taking time to think as a leader. The second thing, begin to get a mentor or a coach. This is critical because in order for anyone to really excel in anything, they need 3 things. They need knowledge, they need experience, and they need coaching. You need knowledge, you need experience. Some of you might say, well, I don't need a mentorship or a coach. Mentorship is like junior high. Let me redefine what a coach as a mentor is. A coach as a mentor is someone who has more experience than you in a specific area. Now, that could be a social media mentor, a financial coach, a health coach. A coach is someone who is a little bit further down the road that can guide you. So I want to remove any age restrictions or gender restrictions. I want you to know we're talking about a coach or a mentor, someone who is a little bit further along. And then the third and final thing, do something new. When was the last time you did something for the very first time? When was the last time you did something for the very... In order for you to get a different result in your charter school, you're going to have to do something new. For some of you, your days look like this. You wake up, go to work, come back home, watch TV, go to bed. You wake up, come to work, go back home, watch TV. You wake up, come to work, go back home. And life continues to pass you by. Why aren't you getting any new thoughts? Here's what you have to understand. 90% or more of your thoughts are the exact same thoughts you thought yesterday. Why? Because you're not doing anything new. When I say do something new, I'm not talking about doing something out of the ordinary. You can change your thought by doing something simple that's out of routine. That will cause you to snap out of your automatic thinking. How many of you are taking the exact same way to work for the last 7 days you've been to work by a quick show of hand? How many of you have been to your office and you don't even remember how you even got there? Right? Because you didn't have to think on the way there. If you begin to take a left instead of right, you're going to create a different thought. Why? Because that's where your awareness is going to be. So I want you to do subtle, small things that are new to create a different thought. But if you want to create a different thought, you have to do something different to stop the automatic thinking. So you're going to have to do something new. So as I'm about to wrap it up, like I said, if you find the information beneficial, right, I'll offer you guys a free 45 minutes leadership training to your charter school. So if you can write on the back of your business card, leadership or whatever paper, hand it to me. I'll be more than happy to provide this free 45 minutes leadership training to your school. And I'd like to end with this. I want you to know that you have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. You see, educators affect eternity. If you look at influences in our lives, after parents and teachers have great influence, it's been in my life and several kids. So don't take what you're doing for granted. You're making a positive difference in the life of these kids that will live on for generations to come. So don't take it lightly because you're making an impact in people, which is the most appreciable asset in any organization. I just want to encourage you to continue to make that great impact. Continue to lead better. Continue to serve better. Care more. Love them better. Because you're here for a reason and you matter. Leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. And you have the power within you to increase your influence. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Yeah.